My name is Kirk Burrowes. I ran Bad Boy Entertainment. I helped co-found it. I created the company with him. I raised from general manager to president. And at that time, I put all of those business plans together.
We talk about this man from the new Diddy documentary. This guy's name is Kirk Burrowes, and he was best friends with Diddy since they were kids, and they did everything together. Like, the things that Diddy did to Kirk, like holding a gun to his head and making him sign over parts of the company and then essaying him and like being so brave to tell his story.
I'm looking back exactly how some of the chips fell where they fell.
This story isn't just about a music mogul climbing the ladder of fame. It's about what that climb looked like from inside the circle, through the eyes of someone who was there before the money, before the spotlight, and before the chaos. Kirk Burrowes knew Sean Combs back when he was just another ambitious kid from Harlem. Long before the world called him Puff Daddy or Diddy, he witnessed the hunger, the attitude, and the first signs that something big and maybe dangerous was coming. What began as a tight friendship in Harlem slowly twisted into something else, a connection molded by power, fear, loyalty, and eventually betrayal.
I had 25% of the company. I didn't know why he needed to get that back from me and then give it back to me again. I didn't understand that. I didn't want to give it up. So he came into my office one day unexpected, him and Kenny Marsalis. We had it planned out. Kenny had the briefcase with all the stock certificates in it, and Diddy had the bat. Not like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you with the bat, but he had the bat like, man, we got to do this. This has to happen. I didn't feel I was gonna get beat down in that office.
Kirk's story pulls the curtain wide open, showing how his childhood friend turned into a man he couldn't even recognize anymore. Before Sean Combs became the name that shook hip-hop, he was just a young man from Harlem chasing dreams that always seemed bigger than his reality. Kirk saw that journey firsthand, from the early days of trust to the moments that shattered it. Their relationship started back in 1989, way before the fame hit. Kirk's memories reveal who Combs truly was behind the flashy image he later built. Back then,
Sean Combs, The Reckoning documentary on Netflix, you don't even know the half of it. Hey guys, it's your girl Jen Trey. Hey, and I finally got around to watching this documentary, and boy do I tell you, like, I was shocked. At first, I thought it was going to be a lot of Diddy bashing and just painting, you know, a picture of how he ended up where he is today. But no, this gentleman right here, Kirk Burrowes, literally tells a story that none of us have ever heard before. He claims that he was one of the startup people in the Bad Boys company, and basically he took a lot of notes and saw a lot of things during his time working with Diddy. He also alludes that part of the problem between Tupac and Biggie was because Biggie and Tupac were actually kind of cool, and Diddy was extremely jealous. So he wanted to make sure that that relationship was not going to go through. He made some comments. There's just a lot of details that you'll have to watch to see. In the documentary, he says that he wrote down everything so he can keep track of it, and he ran all the money, the budgets for the company. He knew a lot about Diddy's personal life, and he has over 30 boxes of these journals and has pulled them out of storage so that he can tell his story. The story that you probably have all heard about as of now is about Diddy, you know, his mom, after she asked about the stampede that took place after the pewing. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but that was a shocker because what? Yeah. But anyways, I'm not going to tell you anymore. Go ahead and watch it. Y'all comment below if you watched it. Let me know what you thought. But I personally thought it was really good.
Combs was just trying to break into the game by any means necessary. At 19, after leaving Howard University, he came back to New York hungry for a shot at the industry. He started off dancing in music videos, trying to show up wherever the rising stars were shining. Hip-hop was exploding, and Combs wanted to be right next to the ones shaping the movement. Heavy D was one of those big names, respected, successful, and pulling all the attention to Mount Vernon. Combs admired him deeply, and through Heavy D, he met Andre Harrell from Uptown Records. Harrell saw that energy, that boldness, and gave Combs an internship. From there, Combs made sure to stay in Harrell's world every single day. He ran errands, handled small jobs, and did whatever it took to make himself needed. At one point, after saying he was having issues at home, he even ended up living in Harold's house. Kirk noticed how fast Combs learned from the powerful, how he watched, adapted, and made himself impossible to ignore. As Kirk and Combs spent more time together, their bond got tighter, but also more complicated. Kirk saw Combs as smart, creative, and quick with ideas, yet he could tell there was something deeper driving him, something shaped by pain. Combs' father died tragically when he was young, and his mother, Janice, had to raise him alone. She was strict, sometimes harsh, and punished him hard even for small mistakes. Kirk always felt that tough upbringing made him strong, but it also left scars. A mix of anger, control issues, and a deep need to never feel powerless again. Harlem became Combs' real school. The late-night scenes, the hustlers, the street game, and the flash all around him taught him how influence really worked.
And Biggie didn't want to go to LA, ended up going. What got him out there was a week ahead of time to ease him into the whole award show. He may not have wanted to go to London, but was talked into it. First time ever a rapper of your stature getting this treatment. That would be something he would be interested in doing, but he was easily talked out of it by Sean so that they can make an appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night. A part of the posturing of not only did we come to the award show, not only am I recording my album out here, and Big is gonna help me with some of the writing and maybe do something out here where me and him did this song in LA. I'm out on the town.
He watched old blaxploitation films like The Mac and copied that same smooth talk and confident attitude he saw on screen. Kirk remembers how Combs studied everyone. He watched people closely, learned what made them tick, and figured out how to use that to his advantage. Even though their friendship was real, Kirk could already see those early red flags. Combs didn't like limits, didn't like losing control, and hated being told no. Still, Kirk backed him up. He believed in his vision, trusted his drive, and wanted to see him win.
We have to find somebody that'll work with us that has dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business.
When Kirk later joined him at Uptown Records, he saw firsthand just how far Combs was willing to go. Uptown was buzzing with talent. Artists like Al B. Sure and Heavy D ran the scene, and Kim Porter worked the front desk as a receptionist. The moment Combs saw her, he was hooked. Everyone in the building knew Kim was dating Al B. Sure, but that didn't stop Combs one bit. He'd hang by her desk, crack jokes, and shoot his shot with bold confidence. He wasn't known for being the most charming or flashy guy, and he didn't drink or smoke, but when he wanted something, he chased it hard.
Scene footage of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September.
You want to put stuff in my fanny pack, eh?
The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
Listen to me.
That was, it's to show you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah.
That determination impressed some people, but it also made others nervous because they could see he wasn't afraid to push boundaries to get what he wanted. Kirk's memories from those early Uptown days paint a vivid picture of a man walking into every room like he already owned it. Eyes sharp, studying who held the real power and who controlled the real money. Andre Harrell, Heavy D, and Al B. Sure were the big names running the Uptown scene, and Combs wanted to be right in the middle of their world. His first task seemed small, just deliver a tape to Andre Harrell, but Combs treated it like it was his one shot at greatness. He handled that errand like a pro.
Diddy is Janice Combs. Janice Combs is Bad Boy. Man, you don't actually sign to Diddy. His name is on a dotted line, but you actually sign it to Janice Combs.
Did he ever tell you why that is, or do you understand?
Oh, now that I'm older, I know exactly what it is. It's a paper trail, so nothing can come bite me. If you come for me, you ain't coming for me. I ain't got nothing. You going to my mama.
Quick, sharp, and full of confidence, and Andre noticed him right away. From that moment on, Combs not only became another intern, he became part of Andre's daily grind. He handled small chores, ran endless errands, and made himself so useful that people couldn't help but keep him around. When Combs ran into problems at home, Andre even let him move into his new $1 million house. For most people, it would just be a roof over their head, but for Combs, it was a golden opportunity. It meant access to the heart of the music world, a front row seat at how power, money, and influence really moved behind closed doors. Kirk explained that this drive didn't just come out of nowhere. It came from deep emotional scars. Losing his father young left a mark, and being raised by a tough, disciplined mother like Janice made him both resilient and restless.
I was at City College. You understand? I was there. I was doing security. My team was supposed to have the outside. Puff came to me the day before we were supposed to do the job there and told me that Heavy D didn't want us to do the security outside. I had 18 men ready to do the security outside with my dogs like I always do. People knew how we used to roll. We would have the pits, the Rottweilers, you understand? You know, we had that outside locked up. So anybody try to bum rush, anybody do that, we had the gates, the whole 9 yards. So we could stop all that. You know how people gonna get down in Harlem. You understand? So, and then when you got LL Cool J, you got Mike Tyson coming through there, and they coming through the front door so people see them. So they gonna go crazy. LL was the hottest thing out at that time. Mike Tyson was the hottest thing out at that time. They got all kinds of stars and people in there already. They was coming through the back. They came through the front. And it caused the door to be bum rushed. But if they had the gates up, if they had the dogs, and with the help of the police, that shit would have never happened, bro. That shit would have never happened. I was there, I saw it. I saw Jessica run down the steps after she grabbed the money box because my man Eddie was protecting her. And Eddie's the one called me on the walkie-talkie and said, yo, Jessica just locked me in outside the gym, Gene. You couldn't go down the steps after they bum rushed the door. You understand? I had to run around the whole gym on the outside, around the gym, down the steps, run across the basketball court, and open the front door. When I opened that one door, because it pushed inside, people start squeezing through that. Then I just kept doing the doors, and people was coming in there, falling dead, right out, just falling out right there. And once they got in there, they just fell out. It was
Harlem added the finishing touches, the late nights, the street hustle, the tough talk, and the swagger he picked up from watching old school movies like The Mac. Those lessons never left him. By the time Combs stepped into Uptown Records, he was already molded by the hustle. Kirk always said that everything people later saw in Sean Combs, the toughness, the hunger for control, the unstoppable energy, it was all there from day one. Harlem didn't just teach him how to survive, it taught him how to dominate. So when Combs showed up at Uptown, Kirk wasn't shocked by how fast he adapted. He moved with a mix of charm and calculation that got people's attention instantly. Combs didn't just want to be around the stars, he wanted access to their power, their network, their success. And for him, Andre Harrell, Heavy D, and Al B. Sure weren't just mentors or friends. They were the key to the entire kingdom he planned to conquer.
You gotta realize that, you know, he didn't get all this from his daddy, because he didn't know his daddy, even though they try to say his daddy was some big time drug dealer in the whole 9 yards. You understand? He didn't get this from his daddy. You gotta realize, man, you know, his mother had a modeling agency, and it was alleged that it was also,
Combs' first real assignment sounded simple, just pick up a tape for Andre. But Combs treated it like it was his one shot at greatness. He handled that errand like a pro, quick, sharp, and full of confidence, and Andre noticed him right away. From that moment on, Combs not only became another intern, he became part of Andre's daily grind. He He handled small chores, ran endless errands, and made himself so useful that people couldn't help but keep him around. When Combs ran into problems at home, Andre even let him move into his new $1 million house. For most people, it would just be a roof over their head. But for Combs, it was a golden opportunity.
Hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip-hop is fine with his behaviors. There's no one else being vocal. So you would look at it and just say, because that mind your business, or let me not say nothing about nothing, or those things, it would allow the entire culture to register as if they're for that.
It meant access to the heart of the music world, a front row seat at how power, money, and influence really moved behind closed doors. Yet behind all that drive was a shadow from his past. Friends from Harlem remembered how Combs grew up without his father, who had tragically passed away, and his mother, Janice, raised him with a strict, no-nonsense approach. She worked hard to give him everything he wanted: nice clothes, a new car, a polished image, trying to keep him focused on success. But the pressure, the streets, and that harsh upbringing all left their mark. Harlem became Combs' real school. The late-night scenes, the street hustle, the bold personalities, and the unwritten rules of survival. He learned how to read people fast and keep control in any situation. Kirk saw that toughness early on. It became part of who Combs was. He was driven, yes, but that fire sometimes came with volatility. The same survival instincts that built him also made him unpredictable at times. As Combs' career started to take off, Kirk noticed that intensity growing stronger, maybe even darker. People around him believed everything he said.
Public person as well, and there was one instance in Harlem, and his reaction when those people
Went away.
Got in
the car and said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. That was, it should show you his character.
was that the reason for including it?
Yeah, I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape.
Drawn in by his confidence and charm, but that power had its own edge, one that Kirk couldn't ignore anymore. Around this same period, another story started surfacing from someone else in the industry. Joy Dickerson-Neal, who met Combs while working in music video promotions around 1989-1990, later came forward with her own experience. She described him as confident and well-connected at first, full of opportunity and energy, but claimed that his behavior later became manipulative and threatening. In a 2023 lawsuit filed under the Adult Survivors Act, she alleged that Combs drugged her and assaulted her, and claimed he recorded the incident without her consent. She also stated that he showed the footage to others at social gatherings. When Kirk heard about these allegations, it shook him deeply. It forced him to see Sean in a whole new light, not just as the ambitious, driven man he knew from Harlem, but as someone whose hunger for control might have gone too far. The same traits that once made him unstoppable were now casting a long, unsettling shadow.
The confidence, the nonstop drive, and the pressure to stay on top were now tied to behavior that pushed people away and revealed a darker side that many had overlooked. At Uptown, Combs' hunger for power and recognition only grew stronger. He soaked up lessons from Andre Harrell, Heavy D, and Al B. Shore.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
It's not personal.
The show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. Not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this.
Learning every move, every strategy. He didn't just run errands anymore. He managed artists, handled big projects, and shaped the careers of future stars like Jodeci and Mary J. Blige with a sharp, perfectionist vision for sound and style. But Kirk noticed that this obsession with control came with a cost. The same man who once called him brother now seemed to care more about winning than about loyalty or right and wrong. Even in his personal life, that same possessiveness showed up.
In his relationship with Misa Hilton, Kirk said Combs' controlling nature crossed over from business into the personal. The lines were blurring fast, and people around them started to see it too. As stories spread, others began speaking up about what they'd witnessed. One insider claimed Diddy was a jealous, conniving narcissist who envied Biggie and Tupac's success. They said both rappers were becoming huge names, even outshining him, and that Diddy used the tragedies around them to keep himself in the spotlight.
Answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim.
He used Tupac's tragedy to boost Biggie, and then Biggie's to launch himself as a solo act, the source alleged. Kirk looked back on that time as the moment everything changed. By 1992, Combs had climbed up to become vice president of A&R at Uptown Records, a massive achievement for someone so young. But that success also made him difficult to manage. Tension built between him and Andre Harrell, the very man who had once opened every door for him and treated him like a son. Kirk remembered when Andre finally tried to let him go, but Combs refused to back down.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bag. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
He wouldn't leave, wouldn't admit defeat, and that moment showed everyone how powerful and stubborn he had become. Kirk, who had been by his side from the beginning, started realizing the friendship he'd once protected was slipping away. The same young man he'd guided, defended, and believed in was now changing into someone he barely recognized. When Combs later asked Kirk to be godfather to his son Justin, it looked like a touching gesture, but to Kirk, it felt like a desperate move to hold on to a bond that had already been fractured by ambition, control, and secrecy. Through it all, Kirk couldn't ignore the pattern anymore. Combs' drive for dominance, fame, and recognition seemed endless, and it came at the expense of trust and humanity. What began as a friendship built on respect and shared dreams had turned into something heavy and painful, a connection tangled up in manipulation.
So let's start at the top with the hotel video, which I did a double take because I thought, wait a minute, isn't this Fiddy's documentary? What is he doing with video from inside Diddy's hotel room, which clearly looks to be sanctioned by Diddy? It almost looks like Diddy was shooting a documentary. He thought this whole thing might go away and just wanted to have some really good content for afterwards. How the hell did this video get in the hands of 50 Cent, the arch nemesis of Diddy?
Well, I think it was delivered legally, supposedly what they're saying. I think what happened was that when he did this video in the hotel, he was probably thinking that he was going to probably be acquitted and he was going to probably get out and he could probably run back his last days that before he got arrested so he can use that for some footage later on. But it sort of backfired on him because now I don't think he wanted it to get out. And plus, he's in an appeal process right now where he's trying to get out from under this. He's still appealing his case, and this sort of brings back old memories, you know?
Let me ask you this, Derek. Somebody real close to Diddy was holding that camera because Diddy didn't have people in his inner circle, in his hotel room, saying things like this unless they were close to him. And yet, whoever owns that copyright, whoever had their hands on that video, did him dirty, you know, and gave it to his enemy. Why and how do you think that happened?
Well, I think the person that probably did the video footage wanted to get some recognition for having that type of footage. And I think, I don't know if they signed a no-compete clause or an NDA, but that person turned that over apparently, and it went to 50 for the documentary, which he used.
Jealousy and moral compromise. Every success story had a shadow, and Kirk was starting to see just how dark that shadow could get. Kirk understood better than anyone how the kid from Harlem he once knew had transformed into a man capable of both genius and betrayal. By the early 90s, Sean Combs wasn't just the ambitious intern Kirk had once protected. He had become a power player, thinking bigger than Uptown Records. Kirk could feel that shift in the air. The hunger had grown, and so had the ego. Combs was chasing a new sound, something raw, real, and street. He wanted artists who carried that same unfiltered energy that had made the West Coast scene explode. That's when he found Christopher Wallace, better known as the notorious B.I.G., or Biggie Smalls. Sean instantly believed Biggie's voice could reshape the whole East Coast sound.
He was involved in the shooting.
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I can say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was gonna go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, we did, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was there. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But when they said that, they breathed new.
Give it an identity that could stand toe-to-toe with the West. Even when Andre Harrell decided to fire Combs from Uptown, he made one choice that changed everything. He let Combs take Biggie with him. That moment marked the birth of a new era in hip-hop. Once they were out, Kirk stayed loyal, helping Sean chase his next big move. They met with Epic, Sony, and Columbia before finally sitting down with Clive Davis at Arista Records. Davis, a legend known for spotting stars, instantly saw Biggie's potential, and just like that, Bad Boy Records was born. Sean and Kirk co-founded the label together. Sean handled the spotlight, while Kirk managed the money, structure, and strategy behind the scenes. Sean gave Kirk a 25% stake, with the rest tied to his mother, Janice. Kirk was the one keeping things balanced, organizing budgets, tracking profits, and managing Sean's personal finances, while Sean crafted his image and empire. But as Bad Boy's success exploded.
To be here, idolized him off, he idolized Tupac because you got to realize when a woman looked at Tupac, they probably wanted him. Puff wasn't getting that type of fever from girls. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had to use his money. Puff had to use his position in order to get women. Now, I've seen him with some bad joints. And I used to look at them like this, like, not on no hating shit, but like, you wouldn't be here if he wasn't puffed. If this nigga had no money, you would not be coming out of his room like that. And that's for real, for real. You understand? I'll be like, yo, when I had to, because most of the time, I would walk some of them to the door, walk them to get their cabs or whatever like that. Or, take them down the street and get their cabs and everything like that. And I'd be like, I'd be laughing. I just kept a smile on my face when it came to that shit. Because I know for a fact, because he said it himself. He said, I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know how to talk to girls. You understand? I said, you don't have to know how to talk to nobody. You're a millionaire. You got it. So he was jealous of Pac because Pac ain't had to do that. Pac had that aura, you know what I'm saying? And he probably knew how to communicate with women. And most women who he talked to that said stuff, said about it.
Kirk started noticing another change, a darker edge creeping back into Sean's personality. The same need for control that once fueled his rise now spilled into everything: business, friendships, even love. Kirk said Sean began reacting with jealousy and intimidation, unable to handle situations that challenged his authority. At one point, despite Misa Hilton and her friend Eric staying perfectly friendly, Sean reportedly began confronting Eric, turning small misunderstandings into moments of tension and control. That same mindset that built his empire was now becoming a weapon, aimed at anyone who tested him. Meanwhile, Biggie's debut album was catching fire. Sean studied the blueprint of the West Coast heavyweights, especially Suge Knight and Tupac, and wanted to craft an East Coast response that was just as unstoppable. Songs like Juicy and Big Papa became the heartbeat of that vision, smooth, confident, and powerful.
But you now as a rapper, when people coming to get you.
I ain't exaggerating at all, man. That's real, son. That's real, yo. I ain't exaggerating at all, man. The more money you make, the more problems you get. And jealousy and envy is something that comes with the territory, man. A lot of people, it's just negative energy, like my man Puff say. It just surrounds you. It makes you depressed, you know? So I gotta rap about it. And that's one of the bad things about the game is when you get large, even your friends will turn against you, man. So I made a song about it.
But I mean, how real is your threat of like people constantly coming and want to shoot you?
Man, I mean, that's real. I think about that every day. Every day, it's real. That's how real it is. I think somebody's trying to waking up paranoid. I'd be really scared. I'll just be paro. That's just the way I am. You know, you be seeing me. Scared to death.
Under Sean's direction, Bad Boy Records wasn't just a label anymore, it was a movement. But behind the bright lights and platinum hits, Kirk could already sense that the same fire driving Sean to the top might soon start burning everything around him. As Sean's fame skyrocketed and he positioned himself as one of the biggest forces in hip-hop, the tension around him started to boil. Once Tupac Shakur entered the picture, things shifted fast. Tupac had raw magnetism, confident, respected, and already becoming a legend on his own terms. To Diddy, that independence made him a real threat. Kirk remembers seeing how Diddy's attitude toward Tupac grew colder, especially as Tupac's friendship with Biggie started making headlines. The atmosphere in hip-hop was changing. It felt electric but dangerous. Then came the night of November 30th, 1994. Tupac was shot multiple times at Quad Studios in New York City. The details of what really happened remain debated even today, but Kirk saw a disturbing pattern forming. In his eyes, the mix of fear, jealousy, and ambition swirling around Diddy back then could have created dangerous motives, even if nothing was ever proven.
Interview that Puffy did with Fat Joe where he was talking about Biggie in his last moments in LA, and he told Fat Joe that he didn't want to go to LA, he actually wanted to go to London. But Biggie, he was the one that wanted to go to LA, and he was the one that was pushing to go to LA.
That's not true. My name is Kirk Burrowes. I ran Bad Boy Entertainment. I helped co-found it. I created the company with him. I raised from general manager to president. And at that time, I put all of those business plans together. And Biggie didn't want to go to LA, ended up going. What got him out there was a week ahead of time to ease him into the whole award show. He may not have wanted to go to London, but was talked into it. First time ever a rapper of your stature getting this treatment that would be something he would be interested in doing, but he was easily talked out of it by Sean so that they can make an appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night. A part of the posturing of not only did we come to the award show, not only am I recording my album out here, and Big is gonna help me with some of the writing and maybe do something out here where me and him did this song in LA. I'm out on the town.
Years later, when Tupac was asked about that shooting, he said he believed it made sense that someone in Diddy's position might have wanted him out of the way. Diddy has always denied any connection to the attack. Still, the rumors only deepened the cracks forming between camps. By 1995, Bad Boy was on fire. Flavor in Your Ear, Big Papa, and One More Chance dominated radio stations and clubs everywhere. Diddy had become one of the most recognizable names in music, flashy, confident, and unstoppable. But for Kirk, who had seen the rise from the beginning, all that success carried a heavy sense of unease. Something inside the empire didn't feel right anymore. Kirk recalls one day in Diddy's office, a moment that would haunt him. He said Diddy's behavior had become unpredictable, mixing charm with intimidation. That day, Kirk felt trapped as he witnessed something disturbing and deeply inappropriate in the workplace. When Kirk tried to confront him, Diddy brushed him off coldly, showing no concern. For Kirk, that moment revealed how far his old friend had drifted from the person he once knew. It was a clear sign of the ruthless image that would later define him. Meanwhile, Bad Boy Records had turned into pure chaos, part music empire, part street phenomenon. Faith Evans, Craig Mack, and Biggie were all blowing up, and Diddy was at the center of it all. The streets loved him, the clubs followed his every move. Crowds would gather outside his office chanting, hoping to be seen, some even waving bats in the air just to get attention, to feel close to the man they thought held the key to fame. But behind the glitter and fame, things were getting tense. The line between loyalty and fear had blurred completely. One day, Kirk said Diddy walked into his office holding a baseball bat in one hand and a briefcase full of stock certificates in the other. His tone was sharp, commanding. He told Kirk to sign over his 25% of Bad Boy right then and there. Kirk signed the papers, not out of fear, but because he wanted to keep the peace and protect everything they had built together. That moment was a turning point.
Get it? When you have a case that's 5 years old, it's hard to get overwhelming evidence that meets the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. When you have cases this old, no matter what Fiddy has found out and put in this documentary, do you see it at all ever possible that Diddy could be involved in a murder trial when it comes to Biggie and Tupac?
It could be possible, yes. However, like I said, they need a lot of corroboration to make that stick, because it's really alleged right now as to his involvement. It's not anything that's substantial or concrete that he was involved. It's personally from people talking about it and saying this is what happened. You need some more information to come forward.
The friendship that once felt like family had turned into pure survival. The empire was bigger than ever, but the cost of keeping it alive was growing too. Diddy's voice echoed in Kirk's mind long after that day. We in a hustle, we in a grind. Do your job, whatever you're ready. For Kirk, that line summed it all up. The dream they built had turned into a game where power ruled everything and loyalty came second. Years later, in 2023, Kirk Burrowes filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming breach of contract and fraud over his original stake in Bad Boy Records. The case was ultimately dismissed for being filed too late, but it left a cloud of unanswered questions about who truly owned the label that changed hip-hop forever. People close to the inner circle said they noticed the same troubling.
Kirk described it all as a web of manipulation. Diddy was everywhere, inserting himself into music videos, controlling the visuals, and keeping tight control over finances. He admired talent, but according to Kirk, he also envied it, always needing to remind everyone who really held the power. Even the artists he helped launch weren't safe from his need for dominance. Kirk remembered how obsessed Diddy became with outshining Death Row Records. He saw how Suge Knight ran his operation. Fierce, protective, respected, and commanding loyalty from his artists without needing to be front and center all the time. Suge built his empire from the streets, combining business sense with raw authority. Diddy wanted that same influence, but with his own twist, built more on image and celebrity than street respect. When Craig Mack's music started circulating on the West Coast, with rumors that Death Row was showing interest, Diddy's reaction was explosive. Kirk said it exposed the possessive and strategic side of him, the one that always had to win,
even if it meant crossing lines. That's when Kirk truly started worrying that the man he once called a brother was being replaced by a ruthless businessman driven by power above everything else. By the mid-1990s, the East Coast versus West Coast rivalry had become the biggest storm in hip-hop. Diddy was right in the center of it, and Kirk watched with growing concern as the transformation deepened. At the 1994 Source Awards in New York, Diddy presented himself as calm and professional. He stood on stage praising Dr. Dre, Death Row Records, and Suge Knight, calling for unity in hip-hop instead of division. To the public, it looked like a powerful moment of peace, but Kirk saw something else behind that smooth smile. Beneath that polished image was a man who never forgot a slight, who kept score quietly, and who processed betrayal in his own calculated way. Those around him could feel it, a kind of intensity that made people nervous, even if they couldn't explain why. Just 7 weeks later, in Atlanta, that tension finally exploded into real violence. According to those close to the scene, Diddy's network was said to have included orchestrating the retaliation with eerie precision. It allegedly involved a Mercedes equipped with a hidden gun compartment, driven by Eric Zip Martin to carry out a deadly operation. Just days before Tupac said living, Diddy had asked Kirk to arrange several rented cars and hire multiple drivers for the Las Vegas fight weekend. Kirk thought the request felt strange, too specific, too secretive. Why so many rentals? Why bring in outsiders instead of trusted employees? Those instructions haunted him later, standing out as signs that something much bigger might have been happening behind the scenes. Keefe D later claimed that after the altercation involving Orlando Anderson, the group went back to a hotel to celebrate. According to him, Diddy kept asking if it was done, seemingly pleased with the results. He said partial payments were made, but that the full amount allegedly promised never came through. Kirk couldn't confirm every detail, but he remembered the same uneasy feeling, the sense that Diddy's influence now extended far beyond music. It was about dominance, about power over everything and everyone around him. By the year 2000, that aggression began to leak into the public eye. In one video game, a song released under Diddy's name included lines hinting at money on someone's head. Fans brushed it off as entertainment, but to Kirk and others who'd seen the darker side, it felt like a reflection of something real. Mark Curry, another former Bad Boy artist, once said that the mask was slipping. Everything Diddy had hidden was bound to come out eventually. But the most devastating chapter had already taken place 3 years earlier. In March 1997, Diddy's control and manipulation had deadly consequences. Against repeated warnings, he convinced Biggie Smalls to travel to the West Coast, a risky move given the tension following Tupac's tragedy. Biggie, by many accounts, was hesitant and nervous about the trip. He wanted to focus on music, not rivalries, but Diddy insisted, assuring it was safe, even promising extra security and exposure for his upcoming album. Kirk remembered those days vividly, the tension in the air, the quiet worry everyone felt but tried to ignore. He saw how Biggie trusted Diddy, believing his mentor had everything handled. Yet that decision, the trip to Los Angeles, would turn tragic. On March 9, 1997, Biggie was at Living in a drive-by not far from the Peterson Automotive Museum, just as the night seemed to be ending peacefully. For Kirk, that was the moment everything changed forever. The empire they had built, the friendship they once shared, it all crumbled under the weight of greed, ambition, and unchecked power. He realized that what had started as a dream between two friends from Harlem had spiraled into something deadly, a world where control mattered more than loyalty, and fame came with a devastating cost. To this day, many who lived through that era still question what really happened, who knew what, and how deep the connections ran. But for Kirk Burrowes, one truth was clear. The boy he once knew as Sean Combs had transformed into a man consumed by the empire he created. And that empire, for all its success, was built on tragedy.